So last week was Steam Next Fest, an event on Steam where a bunch of indie games get demos that you could play. Unfortunately, in the middle of the event, I left on vacation, so I didn't get to quite play everything that I wanted. But that didn't stop me from playing as much as I could in 3 days' time. So here are the 21 games that I got to try during this year's Steam Next Fest. So the first game on the list is Astrea Six-Sided Oracles. So this is a deck building roguelike where the deck isn't about cards, it's about dice. So imagine like in Yu-Gi-Oh! When they introduced Dungeon Dice Monsters, it kind of feels like that. This game is absolutely stunning. I really enjoyed the twist on this roguelike genre, and I cannot wait to play more. In Bilkin's Folly, you're playing as Percy, an adventurer who comes from a long line of treasure hunters. The game honestly gave me Monkey Island vibes. It's not quite a point and click, but there's a bunch of cool things to explore, search for, find hints and clues, find treasures. It's just a fun time, really goofy, amazing animations. Looking forward to playing more. Easily one of my most anticipated games going into the event was Born of Bread. Born of Bread is a Paper Mario-like RPG where you play as Loaf, who's just this little bread golem type character. He's absolutely precious. I did a review on this earlier in the week, and I mentioned I had a few mechanical issues, but the game comes out later this summer, and I'm hoping that all gets ironed out because nothing else about this game has let me down. Another game that I already did a preview for, Stray Gods, is a video game musical featuring an insane cast: Laura Bailey, Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, Carrie Payton, the list goes on. But ultimately, it's about a bunch of gods making sure this girl solves a murder mystery. It's pretty dope. Surmount is another game that's been on my list for a while. It's basically a mountain climbing sim that's super goofy and crazy. So like, imagine if Octodad was about mountain climbing. Okay, maybe not quite that goofy, but somewhat. You get to design your character at the very beginning, and I did my best to make our iconic gnome, so that was really fun to watch him try and mountain climb and crack his skull off of every rock we could possibly find. Sticky Business is easily the biggest surprise we had at Steam Next Fest. This game is basically the digital version of running an Etsy shop. You get to design stickers, print them out, and mail them to your customers. My chat's favorite part though is that there was Twitch integration. Viewers can type commands in a chat and order specific stickers that you made. Obviously they don't actually get mailed to them, but their name shows up as a customer in the game, and people were really digging that. Next up is the Black Pepper Crew. This one is a turn-based strategy game where you can build teams made up of frogs, raccoons, chickens, and cats. Weird combination of animals, but okay. I really enjoyed the gameplay. Each different type of animal has different abilities. Some can dive, some can pull with their tongue, some can dash. It's really cool. Really excited for this one. Captains of the Wacky Waters is basically a game where you want to build the highest score by taking out other pirate ships and a bunch of sea creatures. This one wasn't my favorite game that we got to play. I still had fun with it, but definitely has a short shelf life. And a lot of people say it reminds me of Wind Waker. I definitely see it, and if you're into boats, give it a shot. Venba comes out next month, and I was so excited to finally get a chance to play the demo. You play as a young Indian family making classic and traditional cuisines. The demo was very short, and you really only got to make one dish, but I was super excited to finally get my hands on the controls, and I can't wait to play this one later next month. Let's Revolution. I saw this one at an Indie World Showcase a little while back. Looked really cool, absolutely adore the art style, and it's basically just international Minesweeper, if that makes sense. There'll be enemies below the tiles, and you'll have the number of how many road tiles are connected to this one. It's pretty interesting. I'm actually really excited to check out more of this one. Little Kitty Big City. A lot of people really enjoyed Stray last year, but if you're looking for more of an open world experience, Little Kitty Big City is the way to go. In this one, you complete quests, find shiny objects for a crow, and you're basically trying to just get back up home so you can sleep on the windowsill. Lil Guardsman is basically Paper Please if it was cute and had a funny bone in its body. You play as Lil, who's taken over your dad's shift as the guards post, and there's a bunch of different side events, weird game shows, all kinds of cool stuff. Really enjoyed my time with it. Declines Drop. I really like this one. I've been following on Twitter for a while. The animations are super sick. It is really in and of itself just a Smash Bros like platformer. It's got the side attacks, up attacks, etc. Definitely not the most unique experience I've had, but I did enjoy my time with it. Lake Age Through Blood was another surprise for me, one that I'm really excited to check out. It's a platformer where you ride on a motorcycle, you have to keep your balance, use bullet time to slow down so you can shoot enemies. Really interesting mechanics. But it is also very gritty. Literally in the first 5 minutes of the demo, you watched a family member, I won't even go into detail here on TikTok, but it was pretty brutal. Yet another surprise for me on Steam Next Fest, get used to it because that happens a lot, is World's Worst Handyman. Last year I talked about a game called Justice Sucks, and this is basically that if you're not a Roomba. You play as a man who's never fixed a thing in his life, and he works at an animal shelter, but when the animal shelter goes to shut down, he says, let me do a bunch of odd jobs and try and make some money for us. It's just super fun and goofy. I enjoyed every second of playing it. Really fun, really bizarre. Definitely a major highlight that I took away from this show. Paleo Pines is the game that I'm just upset I couldn't make any content for. So for all my Stardew fans and people who like dinosaurs, take those two things, slap them together, and you got Paleo Pines. I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to make content on this one because I just couldn't record it without dropping all my frames, but the game ran beautifully. I'm super excited to see this one play out. Horror Stories Harvest Hunt. Basically imagine if Dead by Daylight was actually kind of fun. You come from a village where you're elected the leader and you have to go out and destroy this devourer, which is the giant monster trying to eat everybody in town. It wasn't quite as scary as I expected it to be, but it was definitely dark, so it was hard to find my way around. On Garde is an awesome third-person action game all about swift and awesome combat. The game is definitely challenging because you're not meant to just go in and swing your sword like a lot of other action games. You actually have to time and parry everything accordingly to make sure you're knocking your enemies out of stance. Game is super colorful, super fun, excited for more. What if Vampire Survivors took place on a train? Well, that's Choo Survivors. I really couldn't get my footing with this one. It definitely felt like the progression was a lot slower than other survival games in the genre, but I do like the idea. I think there's a lot of potential here and I definitely willing to try it again. Yet again, another amazing surprise for me was Battleshapers. I kept seeing ads for this one on Twitter and I thought it was going to be a first-person arena shooter. It turned out it is a first-person roguelike robot shooter, which is super dope. I really enjoyed the gameplay loop of this one. After staggering enemies, you could charge into them with a shoulder check and just obliterate every bolt out of their body. I also enjoyed the variety of weapons and variety of enemies you got to meet. Super excited that I found Battleshapers. And last but not least was Stick It to the Stickman. This one's from Devolver Digital, which I know always makes good games, but Stick It to the Stickman never really stuck out to me, no pun intended. But after getting my hands on it, this was actually just a really fun time. It's a roguelike where you're trying to build to the top of the corporate ladder, taking out the company's current CEO. As you level up, you unlock new classes, and the combat's situated on a timeline at the bottom of your screen. So rather than getting to input attacks, you have a timeline that says you're going to kick, and then punch, and then dodge, and then do whatever. As you continue to spam the attack button, that line will just play out whatever's in order. Again, another huge surprise me, really dug it, and now I'm definitely picking this one up when it launches. Okay, so those are the 21 games I got to play at the Steam Next Fest. I wish I got to play more. I still have a list in front of me of ones that I didn't get to try, but maybe next Fest, I don't know. If you guys are interested in any of these games, they're all available on Steam. Please go add them to your wish list. It helps support the game so it can grow and then more people get to play them. Also, a huge majority of these games are in videos that I posted on my YouTube channel last week. If you want to head on over there, go drop a subscription because we're almost at 3,000 subscribers, so I'd really appreciate the push. Just right over the ledge. Thank you. But now the Next Fest is over, I need to go take a nap, at least until the next Fest happens.